Hello, and welcome to the patch 9.15 notes rundown. Um, this is a new series that I'm going to be trying. It's the Silver patch notes rundown for those of you who are unaware or uninformed by the title. Um, as you might be able to guess, this is a review of the current patch as done by a Silver player. So, let's just dive right into it. They do note that this is a smaller patch than the previous one. 9.14 was a massive patch, and I didn't want to start on that one because I don't know how long I'm going to take. Anyway, some new skins, project skins. They're going to look nice. Champions, Evelyn. Okay, cooldown refund. It goes from 60% to 50% when she hits a monster. So that's on the big part that she launches out, not the three, like, spike groups, the three AoE things that she sends out. Um, the 10% difference is going to matter more early, but if I recall correctly, she maxes Q first, so it's not going to matter much past like level 5. Um, anyway, Galio, let's see. Good to see that he gets some buffs. His passive is now affected by CDR. That's going to be interesting. I would be surprised if that number doesn't go up to weaken his early game, but late game, if he gets 40% CDR, that goes down to 3 seconds as it is, and I wouldn't be surprised if they bumped it up so it ends up being like 4.5 by late game. Damage goes from 15 to 180 to 15 to 200 by level. That's not going to be too bad. I do believe there's an AP and a magic resist scaling on that. So the extra 20 late game is not going to make much of a difference. And the fact that there's no early game change won't matter much. Justice Punch, damage up by 10 at all ranks. Again, that's not going to be necessarily a big deal. It's going to matter more at level 3. I can't remember what he max. I think it's Q max first and then E max second. I may be completely wrong on that. So the extra 10 it's only really going to matter until he gets some AP. Graves. The quick draw armor per stack goes up. So yeah, I actually looked at this one earlier, and I disagree with this. I am a jungle main, and Graves is a disgusting champion to have to play against in the jungle, because since he's ranged, he can start attacking enemy champions before they get in range to attack him, unless they have a ranged ability of their own. So he's already hard to fight against, and there's a lot of AD champions in the jungle, so his armor per stack makes it even worse. He gets up to 8 stacks, which means with only 1 point into it, that goes from him getting 40 armor to getting 64. That extra 24 armor is actually pretty decent, especially if you can take base armor into consideration, and at lower amounts of armor, plus 24 early is huge. And late, that becomes plus, okay, make sure 5 times 8, yeah, plus 40. Making sure that I'm not going to spat out wrong numbers here. So yeah, it goes from plus 24 to plus 40, and he doesn't build armor items except maybe GA. Oh, I guess Ninja Tabi as well. Depends on who he's fighting. So I disagree with this. I think this is going to have to get toned back eventually, or he's going to have something toned back, because otherwise he's going to be too hard to fight for the majority of jungle champions. Karma, okay, bonus shield goes from 30 to 210. Oh, when it's empowered. Okay, so this is the extra shield she gets when she presses R and then E. So they cut it by 5 at level 1, 10 at 10, 15, 20. Okay, yeah, and then they removed 10% AP ratio. That's not too bad. When I first glanced at it, I thought it was the actual shield, but it's the bonus shield that she gets. So, personally, I don't think that's going to hit her too hard in solo queue, especially not in silver, because I don't see many people empowering their E in lane in silver elo. Late game, the AP ratio is what's going to matter more. So I'll be interested to see if that actually makes her take a hit. Kha'Zix. This is a change that I like as a former Kha'Zix main. Q, Taste Their Fear, damage goes up at by 10 at all ranks. That's going to be huge. Kha'Zix right now, I think, is about middle of the pack, which, um, really considering that the bottom, like, 25% of jungle champions don't get much play and they're in a rough spot. Saying middle of the pack means he's really kind of in the bottom tier of what's acceptable to be played a lot of the time. Um, at least from my experience, from what I've seen a lot of. Remember, this is a silver review, so feel free to judge what I say. Anyway, so the 10 bonus is going to matter a lot more up until probably level 4, which is when he takes his first back, and unless he died early or had camps stolen, that first back should be full jungle item, longsword, and maybe a control ward. So that's when you start getting AD, and I cannot remember off the top of my head what the AD ratio is on it, but it's pretty decently high. So the longsword with plus, I think it's plus 15 AD, is definitely going to outscale that. LeBlanc. Landing the root doesn't carry as much as weight. So they bumped it up by 10 to 50. Oh, wow. Okay, so that going from 180 to 230 when it hits, that's going to hit hard. I don't know what LeBlanc maxes second. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Q, then E, then W. Simply because her R allows her to recast her W pretty easily anyway. So the fact that it's plus 50 means at level 13, or is it 12? I'm bad at math sometimes. I want to say it's 13 is when you start having to worry about it. Yeah, level 13 is when she's going to get that plus 50, but really, she starts getting that plus 30. I don't know what the AP ratio is on this, unfortunately. I should look into that and see if her AP ratio is going to matter more than that. But that's something to keep in mind, is it'll be stronger. Q base damage increased. Oh no. Okay. Plus 5, plus 5. Okay. So it's basically the damage on the first hit of Q goes up by 5, second, and then when he recasts, that's 5 higher at minimum, 10 higher at maximum, and that's just the base damage. And remember, it's not an actual execute, it's that the damage goes up based off of enemy health now. They changed that a little while back. So instead of dealing damage based on missing enemy health, it deals damage increased by percentage. Anyway, Lysandra, health goes up, so that'll help with her lane. Health growth goes up, so she's going to be decently tanky late game even with no items. Let's see, 90 times 17, 900 plus 630. So yeah, she's gonna go over 2k plus whatever items she picks up, and then her ult gains a 15% AP ratio. That's a pretty decent buff. I haven't seen her much, but I've been seeing more assassins, especially since Kiana came out. Obviously, she's an assassin, and everyone wants to play the new champion. So I think that's going to do well for her. I think she's going to start being picked up more, especially into the current meta. Lucian, our base damage per shot goes up. I can't remember how many shots he gets off. I'm pretty sure that's based off of his attack speed in the first place. So early game, it's not going to matter much, but late game, that plus 10 per shot, when he's, pumping out, 20, 30 shots easily, that's plus 200 or 300 damage, just the base damage. Malphite. Q slow goes up by 5% at each rank. W damage goes up. Base damage goes up by 10 each rank, and cleave will now trigger 100's talisman. In the style of LS, is Malphite a jungler now? I don't think so. Obviously, some people are still going to play him jungle. People have always played him jungle because his ult's a great ganking tool. But I think really it's just the Q is going to help him a lot in lane, and the W is simply going to help him when he does get into trades. And then ult, just a bug fix. Poppy, W movement speed increased 5%. Interesting. I wasn't aware that Poppy was doing poorly. I wasn't aware that she was really doing well. I'm gonna steal another phrase from LS and say placebo buff. Kiana. Okay, he no longer damages targets outside of his range. What? I'll look into that in a second. R cooldown now scales. Health packs and ARAM now grants her river. Okay, so I like this. I haven't played her, but I just thought, it's kind of a shame that she's missing literally a third of her kit. So the fact that now she can actually cast her W towards a health pack, probably the health pack stands or something like that, so she can get the river element. That's going to help her a lot, especially since I believe it is her Q in river form that has a brief. I think that's got a brief stun. I may be entirely wrong on that. E now only damages targets if within 250 range at the end of the dash. Okay. So I guess people were going outside of the range, like in front of her, and they were still taking damage. So that makes it so obviously enemies who dodge to the side but don't go far enough still take damage. And then our cooldown. Okay, higher early, lower late. I'm okay with that. Early, her cooldown just felt like it was slightly too low, especially since she builds Black Cleaver pretty early, and that's minus 20%. Rumble. Base shield goes down by 20 at each rank. Base empowered goes down by 30. I haven't seen much Rumble, but when I do see him, he's very frustrating. That's going to amount to roughly like a minion auto. So I'm not sure how much the reduction is going to matter, especially since it's just the base and it's not the ratios. Again, probably placebo nerf. I haven't seen him enough to know. Obviously, this should help with those cases where he escapes with like 2 HP, but you're always gonna have those no matter how much shielding or healing they have, because it's just the threshold is that much closer. Soraka, Q base damage increased. Oh, I know some people who are gonna hate this one. Up by 15 at all ranks. So yeah, level 1, her poke's gonna be nasty. 75 damage, which you can dodge, but it's still, when you're in lane and you've got, 550, her poke's gonna start stacking up pretty nicely for her. And then bug fix R now properly goes on cooldown when she dies while casting. Oh, that's kind of important. Yeah, if she casts it and dies in the process, it goes on cooldown if it heals people, I assume. Swain, Q range reverted to pre 9.14 range, so they nerfed him and now they're buffing it back. Reverting back to the old range since it resulted in. Oh, okay. So he'd pull someone in, and then he'd Q, and they'd be out of range, and so it wouldn't matter that he pulled them in. So that's a change that I'm okay with. I expect that he's going to take a nerf somewhere else if this makes him too strong because of that combo. But honestly, I don't have a problem with that. Syndra, R damage increased late. So 90, 135, 180. So plus 5, plus 10. Okay. So that means that at level 11, that's actually going to be plus 15 minimum. And this one's plus 30 minimum because she has 3 spheres at least. Vayne. So this, I think, is also possibly for skilled Syndra players, it's going to be a big deal because they're going to be able to have more spheres out. They're going to be able to hit with more of them, and it's going to add up more. For Silver Elo, not going to matter. Vayne. E while hit damage increased, damage now applied instantly. Okay. 100% to 150% of condemns damage. Okay, so if she pins you, then I guess total damage is 250%, not just 200%. It doesn't just deal it again. Condemns damage now applies instantly to targets so that minions that should have died from her condemn will do so immediately. Okay, so the first bit of damage, because it deals damage twice. Once when she hits you, and then again when you hit the wall. So now that first one when it hits you is actually going to deal damage immediately. I like that. That's a good change. Not sure about this one, but this obviously is. This makes sense. Changing our range flattened. So kind of opposite of what they did with Kiana, except for the range, not for the cooldown. Longer range early, shorter range late. So that's definitely a buff. 100%. I don't see much as Zerath right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if I see more of him simply because of this. Victory defeat banners. Mac uses your choice at the end of every game. You'll no longer see static victory and defeat banners. No longer? Oh man, I feel sorry for any of you guys on Mac. That sucks. Instead, get new animated versions that are shipping to both Mac and PC. So I guess PC also gets new animated ones, and Mac is getting the updated animated ones as well. And will now scale properly with the visual quality selected in the game options. That's also going to be nice, because no longer will you, say you're on a potato of a computer, you're not going to drop to 2 frames per second when you lose the game. Legacy cursor removal. No big deal. Bug fixes. Cooldown timer now properly appears. Okay, so this is just like Soraka. Yeah, most of this I'm not going to go through in detail because a lot of this is simply, oh, something wasn't working how people expected it. Project skins, they look interesting. I disagree with these two. Getting skins, especially Akali, she just got KDA like 8 months ago. I don't know, not too long ago. I guess it was closer to a year, but it's been way too soon. Pike, does he have any other skins other than his release? I don't think so, so this is a good move. Aurelia, these two are already strong and played constantly, so I disagree with that. Project Warwick I like, but I don't know if it fits the theme. And then, okay, chromas. Cool. So yeah, couple placebo buffs to steal a word from, or a term from LS. Hey, look, that honestly I should have used that right at the beginning. Galio gets buffed, Graves gets buffed. Really, a lot of small buffs this patch, which I like, as well as a couple of early nerfs, and a couple of late, and a couple of early buffs. So, alright, well, feel free, leave a comment in the description, tell me what I can improve on, tell me what I'm wrong about. I'm telling you now, though, I'm never wrong. If you tell me that I'm wrong, then no, you're wrong. Obviously, this is completely objective, and there's no way that anything that I say can be misconstrued. So, leave feedback, tell me if you liked it. I'm going to keep trying to do this, kind of as a joke, but patch notes from a silver and hopefully gold player in the future, but silver player's perspective. And I'll keep these coming out. So thank you so much.